The Golden State Warriors haven't made a move to improve their roster since free agency started. The Warriors lost one of their best players in Kevin Looney, who signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. Golden State has been stuck on coming up with a plan on how to deal with free agent forward Jonathan Kuminga. The team wants Kuminga to sign the deal that it offered to him, which was the 2-year, $45 million contract. The Warriors believe the contract will allow them to officiate a sign-and-trade option later on. However, the forward sees himself as worthy of earning at least $30 million a year. Due to that, the Warriors haven't signed anyone in the free agent market. Even Al Horford, who's likely to sign a 1-year deal. Al Horford could opt to retire. The Warriors are taking too long to address the Kuminga situation. Anthony Slater of ESPN speculates that if Horford doesn't make any headway, he might decide to give up basketball. The Kuminga situation continues to hold up business for them, keeping Horford in a holding pattern, Slater wrote. But Horford is comfortable waiting. Retirement remains on the table, sources said, though the Warriors appear to be operating as if he is a firm part of their plan next season. Horford's former team, the Boston Celtics, isn't planning on bringing him back. Due to that, he remains unsigned and available in the free agent market. Although Horford, 39, is past his prime, he provides the much-needed veteran leadership. However, given how experienced the majority of the Warriors players are, that might not be necessary. The Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey are still in stalemate. Neither side has made much headway in terms of contract negotiations this summer. As such, Giddey remains a restricted free agent. He could still sign his qualifying offer, which would make him an unrestricted free agent next summer. In recent weeks, reports have linked the Golden State Warriors to having an interest in Giddey. Golden State finds itself in a similar situation with one of its own restricted free agents, Jonathan Kuminga. During an August 15th episode of ESPN's NBA Today, Miami Heat legend Udonis Haslem urged the Bulls to consider engaging Golden State on a potential sign-and-trade deal. "I'm looking around. I'm looking at the Chicago Bulls and I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors, and I'm saying Josh Giddey looked like a guy that could fit great over in Golden State, and Jonathan Kuminga looks like a guy that possibly could fit good in Chicago," Haslem said. Haslem continued, "I remember reading an article just a little while ago where Josh Giddey's father said that there was interest from Golden State in Kuminga, but OKC took him at 6, and they said that Golden State would take him at 7, Haslem continued. "So, I'm just saying, this might be a solution. I'm no GM. This might be above my pay grade, guys. But this might be a solution to some people's problems." A Giddey for Kuminga deal could make sense for both the Bulls and the Warriors. However, in reality, a sign-and-trade of this magnitude would entail both teams making concessions regarding potential salary matching additions to the deal. And for that reason, we shouldn't expect either team to consider a move like this as a viable option. Bulls Giddey isn't being pursued by Warriors. According to Clutch Point's Brett Siegel, the Golden State Warriors are not actively pursuing Giddey this summer. Although interest from other teams may exist, the Warriors are not actively pursuing Giddey this offseason, team sources from both organizations confirmed, Siegel reported on August 11th. The Bulls have not held sign-and-trade talks with the Dubs regarding Giddey and Kuminga, a scenario that would be very difficult for both teams to solve financially. Siegel continued, "The two teams have held conversations with one another this offseason, but talks around the start of free agency were more so centered around Kuminga and potential interest Chicago held," sources said. At no point did the Bulls signal that Giddey was available, nor did the Dubs try to put together a package for him. Of course, things in the NBA can change quickly. Therefore, if both Kuminga and Giddey continue to play hardball, the Bulls and Warriors front offices may get in contact to explore what the framework of a deal could look like. Warriors have a long-held interest in Josh Giddey. During an August 7th edition of Bleacher Report's NBA Insider Notebook livestream, NBA insider Jake Fisher reported that the Warriors' interest in Giddey stretches back to the 2021 NBA Draft. To my understanding, the Warriors were prepared on draft night way back in 2021 for Jonathan Kuminga to go number 6 to Oklahoma City, and they were ready to take Josh Giddey at number 7, Fisher said. Nevertheless, the Bulls have remained steadfast in their desire to ink Giddey to a new deal and continue building around him. Therefore, the most likely outcome remains the one where Giddey signs a bumper new deal with the Bulls. Unfortunately, that could mean the stalemate will continue for a little while longer as negotiations continue to play out. Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr has never shied away from honesty. But his latest revelation may shed new light on the fractured relationship between him and Jonathan Kuminga, the team's restricted free agent locked in a contract stalemate. Speaking on the August 8th episode of the Glue Guys podcast, Kerr admitted that player development, particularly with young prospects, has never been his strong suit. "I really lean on my younger coaches," Kerr said. "One of the ways the league is so different now is that we're a developmental league. We don't practice anymore, so we have to develop these 19-year-old kids who are coming in without much practice time. Frankly, I'm not great with it. I'm an older coach, a disciple of Phil Jackson and Pop Greg Popovich." It was a striking confession for a coach who has built his reputation on winning. Kerr has guided Golden State to 4 championships since taking over in 2014. But he came from an NBA era where rookies typically arrived polished and battle-tested after multiple years in college. Kerr's old-school roots. Kerr himself entered the league in 1988 as a 50th overall pick by Phoenix after spending 5 years at Arizona. He forged a 16-year career as a steady role player, earning 5 championship rings alongside veteran-heavy rosters in Chicago and San Antonio. "I lean on my younger staff to install development drills, decision-making stuff, things I never did or knew to teach," Kerr explained. "The key is to empower the people who can do those things." While that approach has worked with some Warriors prospects, Kuminga's case has become increasingly complicated. Kuminga-Kerr's strained partnership. Drafted 7th overall in 2021, Kuminga arrived in Golden State brimming with athleticism and upside. But despite flashes of brilliance, he has struggled to gain Kerr's full trust. Last postseason, Kerr reduced Kuminga to a situational role, relying on him only when Stephen Curry or Jimmy Butler were unavailable. The move frustrated the 22-year-old, especially after he closed the season with an eye-catching stretch: 24.3 points per game on 55% shooting and nearly 39% from 3 over his final 4 games. Still, Kerr was clear about where Kuminga stood. "I've been asked to win," he told the TK show in May. "And right now, he's not a guy who I can say, I'm going to play 38 minutes with the roster we have, Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond Green, and put the puzzle together that way, and expect to win." Battle over the future. The stalemate has since spilled into contract talks. According to ESPN's Shams Charania and Anthony Slater, the Warriors have offered Kuminga a 2-year, $45 million deal with a team option on the second year, a structure designed to maximize trade flexibility. The deal also included a stipulation requiring Kuminga to give up his inherent no-trade clause. Kuminga has rejected the offer, unwilling to surrender control of his future to a franchise he believes has stunted his growth. The Warriors, meanwhile, have shut down sign-and-trade discussions after failing to find a return they deem valuable, according to ESPN. Kerr's candid admission about his struggles with developing young players only deepens the perception gap between coach and player. For Kuminga, it reinforces the belief that his path to stardom may lie outside of Golden State. For Kerr and the Warriors, it's a reminder that even a dynasty can face growing pains in a league that increasingly belongs to the next generation.